So, Mr. Spidsish, tell me what's on your mind.
Well, I guess I've been thinking about my life so far and what the future is going to be like. I'm not going to be young forever, and that kind of freaks me out.
In what way exactly?
I've been told more than a few times that high school and young adulthood are the best times of your life, and to me, it seems like they kind of are. You're fit, you're mentally stable, no responsibilities, but once you become too old for that, suddenly you have a mind numbing office job, taxes. You need to start seriously thinking about relationships because all your friends are married and you just kind of feel awkward around them. And Celestia knows you aren't getting any more attractive.
Well, I don't think everything about having an office job is mind numbing, but I can understand the nervousness. May I ask how long you've been dealing with these fears, Spidsish?
Pretending my problems don't exist mostly. It's been pretty easy to ignore, but especially in recent months as my 18th birthday comes at me like some kind of age altering panzer tank, it's been seeming more and more imminent.
Hmm. Put aside for a moment all these worries you have about how your life will change after you turn 18. Is there anything you're really looking forward to once you get out on your own?
Well, yeah, but most of that stems from me wanting immediate gratification, like taking whole days off to just play video games or draw. Not really something that benefits anyone in the long run.
I suppose you've grown so used to the idea of having your family to fall back on that stepping out on your own and taking charge of your destiny is, for lack of a better word, unwelcome. This is rather commonplace amongst older teens, but it really doesn't diminish how hard it can be. May I ask what sort of minor changes you've been making to your daily schedule in the hopes of preparing yourself for what lies ahead?
I've been waking up earlier, which is a real pain, but not much of a major life event, as well as doing some job searching, but that just makes me more nervous of the idea of getting a job, as none of them seem appealing, especially after the horror stories I've heard from my older brother's first few jobs.
Very well. I imagine that your life seems pretty stable right now, Spidsish. And yes, such a huge change all at once can get most people stressed out. Though, like I've said to many of my previous guests, change is inevitable. Growth is optional. And right now, I have to wonder in what sort of ways are you really challenging yourself to grow? Waking up earlier and familiarizing yourself with job applications is a bit helpful, yes. But how much time out of your daily life is devoted to doing something even a little outside of your comfort zone? Say, how much time is going towards your artwork and video games compared to building towards a new goal?
I'm a pretty comfort zone centric person, mostly because of OCD I wasn't aware I had until about a year ago. And I have been doing things that have gotten me out of where I feel safe, and it's been both a positive and negative experience. Back during late June of this year, I got the opportunity to stay at one of the most prestigious art schools in my country for about a week, living like a student would. The moment I got there, I was the most nervous I had been in my entire life, but the longer I stayed, the more comfortable I got. This was until the third day, when I had a bit of an OCD anxiety attack and started calling and texting my parents asking them to bring me back home. After this, it sort of went in this circle of being fine during the day and wallowing in my homesickness at night until finally the week was over and I went home.
I'm sorry to hear that your first experience in a college environment had such mixed results for you, Spidsish. I admit I wouldn't know how to properly advise someone going through obsessive compulsive disorder. However, I do believe that the more you devote yourself to a new craft, the easier it will be to handle over time. It is rather commonplace for a person to quit trying after only one or two attempts to step outside of their comfort zone. This is why there is so much media out there focused on teaching a never give up on your dreams message in their stories. But it really doesn't require a lifetime of constant hardship in most cases. The exact mark may change depending on which new craft you're pursuing, but as a general rule, it takes about 20 hours before doing something new becomes something worthwhile, where you'll start to notice a real difference in how much effort you're giving compared to how much you're getting out of it. Now, in your case, Spidsish, you're talking about many different aspects of going out on your own, from independent living to being responsible for your own education to finding a new job. And even amongst each of those challenges, you'll find many smaller struggles that feel separate and new. But even with how overwhelming all these changes will feel, you do have access to a wealth of information and helpful resources that generations past did not. For every question and hardship that comes along, you can still go online and seek out answers from those who have come before you. From how to cook your favorite meal in a step by step process, to helpful tips on leaving a good impression on a potential employer. Even with your OCD tendencies, there are innumerable stories and resources available which will show you are not alone in your struggles. You just need to be able to say to yourself, "This is important to me. I am going to take the time now to learn from those who have come before me." You may be afraid of the unknown, Spidsish. We all are in some way or another. But every one of us can find solace when reading or listening to others out there just like us who overcame such struggles. Does that make sense to you, Spidsish?
Yeah, I guess. I have an OCD counselor, and she's told me very similar things about how many people have felt the same way as me and still succeeded in life, which does make me feel better in a way. Not perfect, but still better.
Glad to hear it, Spidsish. I wish you best of luck in taking on new challenges, and I hope one day you'll start looking forward to them. Shall we continue on this next week?
That'd be great. Thanks for taking the time to talk about this. By the way, what's your doctorate even in? Like, is it just psychology, or do you have a minor in sociology? Point is, how and why do you sound like my dad?
This was actually gifted to me by Princess Celestia herself. I only took the one class in psychology and never came close to the amount of education many other doctors had pursued. But then, when the ruler of all the land for the past 1,000 years decides to bestow you with a doctorate, few ponies ever question its legitimacy. As for why I talk like your father, perhaps I've always had a natural gift for fatherhood, but I've never had any children of my own, so it's really just a mystery. I hope someday that will change. But until then, I'll be looking forward to whatever challenges life decides to throw at me. Take care, Spidsish. It's good to be helping.